Hello and welcome to Accent Excellence. I'm Chuck Lionberger, and coming up on this month's episode, we're going to introduce you to these folks. We want you to meet the Special Education Advisory Committee here at Roanoke County Public Schools and how you can be a part. Also, we're going to have some important information and some tips about tests coming up later this spring. So stick around. Accent Excellence is starting right now.
Cared then, I need you to care now. Don't turn a blind eye to teenage drinking.
Hi, and welcome back to Accent Excellence. Joining me now is Mike Garrison and also Dr. Jessa McClung. They're here, and we're talking about the Special Education Advisory Committee, or as we like to call it, the SEAC here. And this is something that actually, Jessica, we've had for many years, but not something that a lot of parents necessarily know about. So first, what is the SEAC?
The SEAC is our Special Ed Advisory Committee. It's comprised of parents and some education staff, and we really are a group trying to be the listening body and the ear to what's going on in special ed in our district. We really are trying to encourage parents to come. We do advertise for our meetings, and it's posted on the website, but still we miss a few. So.
And you get food.
Yeah.
Oh wait, that's not the only reason I'm here. But you get food.
You do get food here. Mike, tell me about your time so far on the SEAC.
SEAC's wonderful. It's my first service on this particular SEAC. I've been on one in another part of the state. And as a parent, I feel like it's a great opportunity for me to engage with the school system at a deeper level. And also, you get to, put a face on your advocacy. You get to learn about other parent situations. You get to learn what the school system is doing. Most of all, you get to develop relationships with the people who work with your kids.
And talk to me about that. There's so much that is to our special education program here at Roanoke County.
A huge spectrum.
A ton that we're doing. And so how beneficial is it to start to really kind of get under the hood and see what's really going on in terms of providing services for special ed students?
I would just say education is not just for kids. It's for parents of kids who get education. And Jessica and I are working on a presentation called Advocate, Not Adversary. One of the reasons I got involved with SEAC is because I feel it's my responsibility as a parent not to just understand my son's relationship with the school system, but also because of the things that I've been blessed to receive to interact and try and help other parents as well. There's so much information. This is a way for you to get in a filter that will help you get what you need. If you just do a Google search on special ed,
it's overwhelming.
There's
just a lot of information,
way too much.
And I think even having contact with other parents who are experiencing some of the same things you are
empathy
is a huge help.
Oh yeah.
Tell me a little bit about also kind of what goes on during kind of your average meeting.
Sometimes we will get the average meeting. Is there really an average meeting?
If there is such a thing.
A lot of laughter.
Yeah, we do laugh a lot in our meetings. We do a lot of training. We have guest speakers come in. We try to share what's going on in our schools if we have any new special programs. And then we also do business things. This is the committee that actually approves our special ed budget that goes to the State Department every year.
How helpful is it from our perspective, from the administrative perspective, to have parent involvement in our special ed program?
I think it's a huge plus. It does take a village to raise our kids, and it really takes a collaborative partnership with our parents. Our goal is to be able to work with families, and this is just, it's a welcome group, it's a kind group, it's an active group. We've really expanded over the years, and it's fun.
There's a lot that is involved when we have a parent that's dealing with a child with special education, IEPs and 504s and all of these things of accommodations. How helpful is it that, with parents here and also with this whole group to help get past all of the acronyms and the terminology to providing support for students?
It's everything. From a parent's perspective, I'm also the child of a special ed teacher, but from a parent's perspective, it's about being able to get information without having to be a college degree in special education. And I think the other nice thing is if you can find just one other person that understands your situation, it diffuses the emotions and we can get down to results. Because after all, that's what everybody's here for, parents and school systems. No one wants to hurt kids. No one wants to have bad outcomes, so we got to find a way to integrate and work together.
Exactly. I think some of the regulations for special ed are so overwhelming. They're very complex, and just having a group like this where you can talk about, so what does this really mean?
From both sides.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Obviously, as we've been talking about, parental involvement is a tremendous portion of the Special Education Advisory
We need
Committee.
more.
And we, as I was about to say, we need more parents involved. How can parents get involved?
They can contact the special ed office directly. We have a Facebook page now, the Roanoke County Public Schools Special Ed Advisory Committee page. It has grown leaps and bounds this year, so if parents aren't comfortable to come to a public meeting, they can get online to see what's going on and to give some input there. They can also...
You don't have to be a member to be involved. You can just show up. It's a public meeting.
Right.
That's why we announce it. And one of our goals that we've been talking about is how do we get more parents in the area understand that you don't have to be a member of a committee to be involved with your school system. Come to SEAC, get to know us. Maybe you won't be on the board this year, but maybe next year.
Yep.
And this is, again, another excellent opportunity for parents to be exposed to what is going on, to really learn about what's happening in their child's education, and also, really, frankly, to take an active role, isn't it?
Right, and we do try to keep we try to keep it to an hour, so folks know when they come we're not going to go over by hours and hours and hours. We try to respect time, but we really, really, really want participation.
It's critical.
Yeah.
Don't be passive.
Yeah, and that's really it. Come on out
Please.
to the Special Education Advisory Committee meetings. We have several a year. More information about them is on the Roanoke County Public Schools website. Just click on Special Education as part of our departments. So, Mike and Jessica, thanks so much for being with us.
Thank you so much.
And we're getting ready to start the Special Education Advisory Committee right now, so we want you to stick around. We've got a lot more Accent Excellence still to come.
Have you ever wanted to make a difference in the life of an animal but didn't know how? The Regional Center for Animal Care and Protection is looking for volunteers to assist with the daily care of their animals. Volunteer opportunities include cat socialization, dog walking, front desk or kennel assistant, off-site adoption events, rescue networking, or shelter photography. As a volunteer, your time and talents will make a difference in the life of an animal. For more information on how to become a volunteer, call or email the Regional Center for Animal Care and Protection.
Hi, and welcome back to Accent Excellence. Joining me is Brenda Hairston. She is the coordinator of our Parent Resource Center. And Brenda, that's actually where we are right now, is the Parent Resource Center. A couple of years ago, we featured this program to you, but we thought it was time to reintroduce the PRC to our parents because there have been a lot of changes that have taken place in the last few years.
Yes, it has.
So kind of walk through, first of all, what is the PRC and what resources are available all in this room and beyond to parents?
The Parent Resource Center pretty much says what its name is. We're here to assist parents, to help them, those parents who have children who have disabilities or whatever the need might be. We have the resources here that we can give parents strategies, ideas, different resources that's here or out in the community that would help them with their particular child.
So let's talk about some of those resources. As you said, they're resources not only for parents of special needs students, but for all parents.
Yes, if you have a child that might have a problem with reading, we have the Barton Reading Series. If you have a child that might have a problem with some type of behavior, then we have a lot of materials on behavior techniques. And that's just to give a couple of examples. We have parenting, we have behavioral intervention, we have family issues. Whatever it might be, we try to address it in the Parent Resource Center. And if we don't address certain issues, we address those things that we are aware of and know of. But I've been a special educator for years. There are things that I'm even learning. And when I find out about things, we try to address those and put them here, these resources or those resources here in the Parent Resource Center.
How helpful is it, as we look here, I mean, again, as we talked about, from health to behavioral, but then we do also get into some specific resources for different areas, especially of special education. And special education is something that for parents, especially when they first kind of get into this, it can be frightening, can't it be?
Sure, we want them to know the special education process. In order to be able to operate in the frameworks of having a child with a disability, you need to know, of course they're going to help you, the teacher, the case manager, but on your own to be able to get more information. Say if it's ADHD, you can come in here, we have books on it, many books. We have parent guides on it. We have DVDs, we have CDs. We have all these resources on these various disabilities here that a parent can come in and find out about. And like I said, if I don't have it, then we work hard to try to get it in the PRC.
And one of the things to also stress, especially for parents of younger students, early childhood education, possibly even preschool education. And as you'll notice kind of down on the floor, we do have some things that are more geared for
Younger
children
children.
themselves. We
Yes.
want them to be here too.
We want them to come in, and what we have, they're teaching tools. They're fun to play with, but they're also things that the children learn about when they come in and sit down and look at the big books or play with the blocks, what they can build, or put puzzles together, eye-hand coordination, this type of thing. Everything that is in the PRC is geared to enhance, engage families, and promote the child's success.
And one thing just to also highlight here is the community resources that are
Yes.
available as well.
On this wall, and when you see later on the other wall, we have a lot of community resources that are available to us. We have a lot of magazines that deal with from elementary, middle to high school. It's called Parenting Corner. We have, as we walk around the room, you'll see other community things that we have that lets parents know what's out in the community, those things that's out there that can help their children.
And again, we keep going around with more books, and again, the reading system that you had
That's
talked
the
about.
Barton Reading Series. I'm very proud of that. If you have a child or person with dyslexia, this is a great resource right here, a great teaching tool that helps out with reading and spelling. It's just a wonderful tool to have. We've just gotten that into the PRC. We've just gotten some new books here on ADHD, how to manage and take care of it. And one of the things, Chuck, that we have is right behind you and that door right there is on Tourette's. We have really got, doing a lot of work in bringing more and more information to parents who may have a child or children with Tourette's.
Dealing with Tourette's. And one of the other things that it's important to keep in mind is that the resources available to the parents don't stop here in this room.
No.
Parents can also get information and resources online. How can they do that?
Online. If you go to our webpage, you will see where we've posted where you can go online to find different resources that would help you with whatever your problem might be. And we have our parent involvement library. Click on it, different books pops up, and guess what? You can actually print these little booklets off.
And you can find that online right
And
on
that's
the Roanoke,
online. That's
right,
online.
right on the Roanoke County Public Schools website. Click on departments and then special education to find the Parent Resource
Yes.
Center. But there's even more.
Yes.
The PRC is going on the road. Tell me about that.
We're putting our show on the road. We want to go to every school in Roanoke County. That's our big plan, and put part of all that you see here into the schools. We're taking the PRC, the top part of the iceberg. This is the big picture here, but we're taking as much of it as we can, and we're putting it in the schools. Accessibility to parents.
Well, it's
That's
a whole
what
lot,
we're about.
and it's all here, and it's available, and most importantly, it's free.
It's free.
You're welcome to come
It's free.
and check these out. So Brenda, thank you so much. She does a lot here at our Parent Resource Center, and we want you to take advantage of all of the resources you see here and online. And again, remember, it's coming to a school near you very soon. Brenda, again, thanks so much for
Thank
being
you.
with us, and we
Thank
want you
you.
to stick around because more Accent Excellence is coming up next.
I want to be cool.
I want to be accepted. I want to fit in. I want to be popular.
I want to be invited to parties.
I don't want to be invisible anymore.
I want to be part of the in crowd.
You think you have to drink to be in the in crowd, but giving in to peer pressure isn't going to get you anywhere. Be true to yourself to accomplish your big dreams.
Hi, and welcome back to Accent Excellence, once again here at the central office here at Roanoke County Public Schools. And Dr. Ken Nicely is joining us again to talk again about our strategic framework. If you go back to last month's episode, we went and did a real big overview about the strategic framework. But Ken, today I think we want to take a real deep dive into what this is all about and where else to start, but right in the middle with deeper learning. So we thought we would help folks understand what do we mean by deeper learning and how are they seeing it in the classroom?
Yeah, sure. It's a great question. You know, when we started having these conversations with our students and parents and administrators, the community, a few years back in terms of how can we bring better balance into the classroom and the learning experience that our students are having, there are lots of ideas that were coming forward. Of course, we talk about technology a lot because we're known as a district that has really invested in that as a learning tool. We talk about things like project-based learning, and different things like that. And to come up with a term that was sort of an umbrella term for all of these ideas, that's where we landed on this idea of deeper learning. So it's been interesting because I found as we participated with other school districts across the country, it is a term that other districts are using too. So it is a theme that sort of resonates with a lot of people, this idea that we do need to dig deeper and allow students to have the kind of experience that goes beyond the surface of just the content knowledge. So, so working with our committee process in terms of laying out exactly what do we mean by this and what does it look like, how can we articulate this for our teachers so we can all be on the same page in terms of having those common classroom experiences. We settled on the term deeper learning, but we really are still trying to do that work of making sure that everybody really understands what it means.
So what does deeper learning really look like actually in the classroom?
Well, one of the first things that we did in trying to define what deeper learning is to try to take the mystery out of it a little bit. You know, that it's not about a device, it's not about a tool, it's not about a particular strategy. At the end of the day, as we walk through our classrooms, we want to make sure that deeper learning is occurring, and that is learning that's engaging and purposeful. It's as simple as that. Engaging and purposeful. Not just, we have great students in Roanoke County, by the way. They're very well behaved, they're generally on task, they're very compliant. But deeper learning goes beyond just doing what the teacher asks you to do, being on task. We really want students to look forward to coming to class every day because they know they're going to learn something. They're going to learn something that's interesting, that's really going to cause them to think. I kind of use the metaphor of if you think of your brain as sort of being a pinball machine. So when that information's going through, we want all those lights, you know, going off and all the sounds, we want that thinking to occur, not just kind of funneling through that can happen in a compliance-based classroom.
Instead of just sitting and receiving information, think classrooms of 30 or 40 years ago, or even 20 years ago. Now it is more discovery-based.
That's right. And the second part of that is exactly what goes along with that, and that's this idea of learning that's not only engaging but purposeful. Students really need to understand, why am I learning this? How is it relevant to me? How is it relevant to my interests, my future plans? How does it relate to other content areas I might be studying? So that's the idea of being purposeful. Authentic situations, you know, so there's things that are real world is a very important part of that idea of being engaging and purposeful.
And it takes a lot to get to deeper learning, and we'll go back to our graphic, our sort of visual vision that we created, and you'll notice that deeper learning is here in the center and everything is pointing down into deeper learning.
That's right. So we still don't forget about this idea of, first of all, deeper learning does include those 21st century skills. We call them the C skills because they all begin with C. So things like collaboration, communication, creativity, and critical thinking, those are all part of that. Deeper learning is also a critical element of that is it's very student-centered. And so, you know, what one student needs in terms of what they might be interested in, first of all, in terms of that deeper dive into a content standard, but also how they need to learn it and the kinds of experiences they may need to have to really learn it well, really needs to be individualized and take into consideration those individual needs of students. Another thing we really emphasize with our teachers, and we're seeing this being done very well in really elementary level, middle school, and high school, and that's this idea that deeper learning we can get at that in lots of different ways. So lots of different instructional strategies. You know, one of the basic things that our teachers can do to get to deeper learning is just good questioning strategies. Questioning strategies that causes students to think, that engages every single student. You know, we don't want just the one or two students to answer all the questions in the classroom, but you know, the teacher really making sure that every single student has a voice and is participating in the discussion. That's a basic kind of way to get at it. But there are other ways. Things like I mentioned, project-based learning. Project-based learning just means it goes way beyond the idea of just doing a craft or something like that, but to say, you know, we want to have some kind of real-world problem that we're trying to solve through you know, the learning. And so it really is a great way to engage the students and get at that. Inquiry-based learning is another technique that the teachers might use. That's more of that scientific approach to say, you know, I'm really interested in knowing more about this, how it works, and so forth. And so I'm, you know, engaging that curiosity that students naturally have, we want to foster. Our elementary schools do a great job with what they call their elementary engineering project. It's a way of saying design challenges or challenge-based learning. And that's where, the students are given a task, they're given a challenge of some sort. They might be given some basic materials, but then they're exercising their own problem-solving skills and their own creativity to solve the problem. And so I want them to not be afraid to fail. Failure is a natural part of life, but they keep at it and have that perseverance and resilience that really does make our students opportunity ready, like we talk about a lot.
Yeah, and it's another piece, and actually you talk about that. That's coming up for next time on Accent Excellence, where we're going to go, instead of going deeper, we're going to come back out a little bit, and we're going to talk in the next 4 segments about the different C's, the 4 C's, and how these 4 C's help get our students and our teachers to deeper learning. So Ken, thanks for being with us, and we'll see you next time as well. And folks, stay right there because we have more Accent Excellence coming up.
People who are using heroin are not the typical destitute, marginalized persons, homeless in our society. This is not the profile of the typical heroin user today. Today, the typical heroin user is your neighbor next door. It is the young person who's going to high school. It is the young professional, and it is a growing problem.
Hi, and welcome back to Accent Excellence. I'm here with Tasha Steele. She's our coordinator for school counseling. And Tasha, it's springtime. I guess, you know what, I got good news and bad news. The good news is it's spring, it's getting warmer, but the bad news is we're getting close to testing time.
Season, yes.
Yeah, so we've got a couple of different pieces of testing that go on during the spring. We have, of course, our standard SOL tests. They will take place mostly in May, with a few that take place in March, like the writing SOLs and things like that. But let's also focus on another group of testing first that specifically applies mostly to our high schoolers, and that's the ACTs and the SATs, because they're big tests and they count a lot.
Right, absolutely. So SATs and ACTs will be coming up in March, and of course a lot of information has been put out about the SATs being new this year. So parents need to be aware that there is a new test. Students need to be aware that there's a new test, and what those changes are, what those changes look like. One of the things that parents need to know is that with the SAT, is that students will not be able to super score. And super score means you are able to use the score from one test and match it with another test. So if a student took an SAT test last school year, they cannot super score with this particular test.
And that means, like, for instance, back in the fall, maybe they took a test and did really, really well in the writing portion, but not so well in the math.
Exactly.
And took another one, and the reverse, they could take the best math and the best reading, put them together, but new test, not an option.
Right.
There are a lot of other changes to the SAT this year as well.
Right. There are a lot of changes. The SAT is currently more aligned with the ACT, and it actually tests what you know, whereas before it would actually test information that you'd have to study for and were projected to know. So it's a little more streamlined with the ACT.
A question that a lot of parents, my own, I have a senior in high school this year, and we've asked this question: which one should we do, the SAT or the ACT? Is there really an answer?
I don't really have an answer for that. I would personally, as a parent myself, I would have my child take both the SAT and the ACT this year, especially with the SAT being new. I will say that numbers will probably be down with the SAT because it is a new test, but I think being that the ACT has been around long enough, I think it would be in the best interest of the students to take both if they can afford it.
All right, getting ready for these tests though, and again, they're coming up right away. What should students be doing?
To prepare for the test, students need to make sure that they are studying information that's out here, working with their school counselors and making sure that they are meeting the deadlines to schedule the test. Also, there's a site called the Khan Academy that will allow students to study for the SAT, so that's something that students could use as well. Those would be the main things I would say.
And the Khan Academy, by the way, that's a free service.
It is a free service. It is a free service, an excellent service. That's they have really good reviews.
All right. Also, of course, coming up are the SOL tests. As we all know, it's pretty much everybody from third grade on are taking those SOL tests, and there are certain things that parents can do to help their students be successful in the SOLs And to be honest, some of these tips also apply to taking those ACTs and SATs, things like getting ready and good sleep.
Absolutely. So there are things that parents and kids need to do to leading up to the SOLs, which, making sure they are reviewing the content that's been taught all year, making sure the students are asking good questions. If there's anything they don't understand, they will see that information that's been taught on the SOL test. I would say also getting good rest, making sure they have a good breakfast, eliminating the stress in their lives, which I know is tough because families are busy and we just have things going on. But trying to eliminate some of the stress that kids have on them and working those things out. And if there is an extenuating circumstance, working with the school counselor and making sure that the student gets the help they need if there's an issue.
Yeah, and thinking about that rest, it's not necessarily just the night before. That's something that really almost has to happen for several days to really get some good rest.
Absolutely. I think it needs to happen every day so that excellent learning can take place. But you're exactly right. Not just the night before the test, but days leading up to the test. We want to make sure that the kids are well rested, they have been eating properly, as well as, again, eliminating the stress that the kids have in their lives over the course of the weeks before.
And some of the things frankly, to kind of cut out, I mean, caffeine in advance of a test might not be the best combination.
Yes. You definitely don't want to load your kid up on caffeine, coffee, or Monster drinks prior to the test. But just, again, good rest and a healthy selection of foods prior to going into the test.
And Tasha, of course, we talked about SOLs in May, but there's another major test that our high schoolers are dealing with as well, and that's the AP or the Associated Placement Test.
Exactly. We have the AP test that will be coming up in May. They are the first 2 weeks of May, and it's a very rigorous schedule, a very tight schedule that's assigned to us by AP. Kids have been signing up with their school counselors already, but it is important that kids understand that just the same way with SOLs, they need to make sure they get plenty of rest and that they are also just well prepared by having a healthy breakfast. And with the AP test, they can also work with their teachers because they've taught that content all year. With any questions, work together in study groups to make sure that they are ready for that test.
And it's important to remember that, AP tests as well as all, take your time.
Exactly. The AP tests are a time test. However, they do need to understand that they need to take their time as far as just working strategically through the questions or the problems. That will be very important, that they understand how to do that. And again, working with their teachers and talking with them will provide them a lot of insight that they need to get through the specific subject matter. So
there's a lot going on. It's an exciting spring. Again, graduation is just around the corner, and we want you guys to do your best on all the various tests. So we wish you the very best of luck on your SOLs, those APs, ACTs, SATs, and any other 3 named tests we could think of. We wish you all the best of luck, and we also want to thank Tasha for being here once again, and we'd like for you to stick around because more Accent Excellence is still to come.
Burton Center for Arts and Technology has the best computer information technology class in the area. The demand in this field for trained professionals continues to grow. Computer enthusiasts will gain the knowledge necessary to get ahead in this growing industry. The class offers students hands-on experience repairing computers and teaches them how to troubleshoot software problems. If you're interested in this high-paying career, check out the Burton Center for Arts and Technology.
Well, folks, that's going to do it for this month's edition of Accent Excellence. But before we go, we wanted to pass along some congratulations to Brendan Kylene from Glenver Middle School. Brendan is the winner of the 2016 Roanoke County Spelling Bee. Let's take a listen as Brendan spells that winning word.
Calamity. C-A-L-A-M-I-T-Y. Calamity. Correct.
Congratulations, Brendan. He's going to compete in the regional spelling bee coming up this month. Also, we want to remind you about the 2016 Little Feat Meet. That's coming up on April the 21st at Northside High School. You do not want to miss it. Come on out and cheer on these special Olympians. If you want to find out more about Roanoke County Public Schools, be sure to check us out online, and don't forget to like us on Facebook and Twitter. I'm Chuck Lionberger. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.